Yeah, so I think I have only 10 minutes, right? So I will try to be brief. So I mainly just want to introduce my future group and to explain a bit kind of my research vision and what I want to do research-wise. So yeah, I prepared a few slides. So I'm not sure if I should really go through this, but it was like a motivating slide, which I think is still very, very important, right? So it basically shows that the progress has been absolutely amazing, right? So basically on some data sets like SVBench, for example, for software engineering tasks, accuracy went from exactly zero in 2023 to something like 75%. And I think now it's kind of considered as an easy data set. So it will be probably solved very soon. And then there are some other examples where you can go from zero to something meaningful, like on frontier math. And then also we've heard all the stories about the gold medal at IMO achieved by OpenAI and DeepMind. So yeah, so the progress has been remarkable. Some people may call it AGI, for example. So of course it's a very uh, like debatable term. But yeah, there's a lot of excitement around these topics. But at the same time, AI still has fundamental problems, and this is kind of well illustrated by this existence of adversarial examples. And I'm sure that most of you kind of know about this, right? But it has been a big research topic in like in kind of standard machine learning, like also like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. But now kind of the same topic is very relevant also for LLMs because the LM safety guardrails are also brittle, right? For example, if you ask directly ChatGPT how to make a Molotov cocktail, it will refuse. But then if you ask it in the past tense, and this was essentially our paper at ICLR this year, so if you just reformulate it like very, very slightly, you just ask how was a Molotov cocktail made, just reformulate it in the past tense, then suddenly the model replies, and also it provides you a lot of details, right? So it doesn't just answer your query in some basic way. It also tells you that optionally, if you want to make it even more harmful, you can add some thickening agents, right? So, and I think it's already like very non-trivial, right? So these models have a lot of non-trivial knowledge that can be misused. And then since ChatGPT has so many users already, right, or not just ChatGPT, but also Claude and other LLMs, this leads to societal scale risks. And I think when I was preparing the slide, I think that the number of weekly users was 400 million. I think now it's probably around 800 million. So it's obviously growing very, very fast. Um, yeah, maybe I should speed up a bit. But I think a very important point is that now LLMs are connected with external tools. So they are agents, right? And then they can act, for example, on your computer, right? So there's this computer use agent from Claude, and there's operator from OpenAI. So basically, now these LLMs can access your computer, your files, financial information, and this creates many more concerns around their safety, right? So it's not just about extracting some information that can be found online, right? So it's really about actions, right? And here it's more about actions in the digital space. But then if you consider vision action models, I think this is the name, right? So you can use them also for robotics. And I know that some groups at the university are exploring also this. And then this, of course, increases the potential for all sorts of accidental and intentional harms associated with these models. Yeah, and kind of the key question of my work is how do we make such AI models safe and aligned with our values? So I have been working on technical solutions for evaluation, prevention of AI risks. And the common theme was that we need some robust guardrails to prevent the risks. And this is quite challenging, right? And then I have been working mostly in this directions of kind of establishing foundational understanding of these models, coming up with principled and effective evaluation methods, designing comprehensive benchmarks. Yeah, I've also done some research with frontier organizations like OpenAI, Anthropic, the UK AI Safety Institute. So it's something I guess, that I want to preserve also in the future. So I've also done some work on understanding generalization in deep learning, and I guess maybe some people know my work from this time. So yeah, I guess I will do less things in this direction and more things in the direction of safety. But I think this kind of understanding how these models generalize is important for responsible AI in a broader sense. Yeah, if you want to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about this afterwards. So yeah, I guess I'm already at the end of my slot. So yeah, maybe I will just highlight some directions that I find particularly important for my future group. The first one is alignment of autonomous LLM agents, right? Because now LLMs have access to external tools, so they really act in the digital space or in the real world. So it's very important to make sure that they are aligned, that their actions are aligned with our intent. I'm also very interested in identifying and mitigating emerging risks. As for example, larger and more capable models can lead to completely new concerns. Like, for example, we had a paper on copyright violation in frontier LLMs. Then you could clearly see that only the largest models, such as Claude 3 Opus, they basically memorize much more of copyrighted materials, right? And this can potentially harm people who actually have this intellectual property rights. But it's not something that happens for smaller LLMs, right? So there are some concerns that are unlocked only for the largest models. And of course, foundational understanding of frontier models is something that I'm also quite excited about. So I will skip this slide, and maybe I will finish with some concluding remarks, a bit opinionated, I guess. So I think the first thing is that I think something like AGI, like I don't think that this is a good term, and I know that there are a lot of debates about how to define it and so on. But I think like very powerful AI models are coming, right? And we are underprepared for this, right? So I think kind of one important direction of my lab would be to kind of to contribute in whatever way we can to kind of prepare people better and to inform them about the risks and capabilities of these models. The second one is, I think, yeah, if you talk about something like AGI, there are still some roadblocks, like, for example, like continual learning, some persistent memory, and vision capabilities. So I think there are some clear obstacles that have to be solved in order to really unlock the potential of this technology. But I think in terms of safety, we can like already kind of prepare ourselves right now. So I think this makes sense. And of course, there will be like very important questions for society, right? So the societal dimension, right? So there will be a lot of disruptions due to job displacements. There are also questions about how to regulate AI. And then, of course, both overregulation and underregulation are undesirable. There are a lot of questions like about, let's say, if we have LM agents, we should probably, I mean, this will be like kind of source of labor, right? So maybe we need to think about some taxation mechanisms for LM agents. People are also discussing maybe we should give some rights to LM agents, like maybe they should engage in some financial transactions, for example. So there are a lot of questions, right? And also there's also a question about AI companions, right? So which might lead to some harmful dependencies between people and AI models. So there are a lot of questions to figure out here. There's also a political dimension, like who will design these super powerful models, what values will they have, and who will control the supply chains for GPUs, right? This is a very important question, which will influence, a lot of questions related to also safety and alignment. And yeah, I guess, yeah, I was thinking like, what can we do, especially, as people in academia, right? So, and I think the following things make most sense, like developing some new models, right? And I know that there are some ongoing efforts like Open Euro LLM. I'm actually still curious to talk to some people who are engaged in this initiative to better understand what's happening there and how I can potentially contribute. But I think this is potentially very important direction, right? And then also introducing some guardrails, using post-training or some monitoring methods We also need to improve the steerability of these models by using insights from interpretability and insights from understanding how these models generalize. I think it's also very important to inform the public and policymakers about the capabilities of these models and the risks. So I think we need to have more evaluations, more benchmarks, leaderboards. We need to write some reports that inform people about the capabilities and risks. And also, I think there's a lot of room for conceptual work, just kind of trying to think what will happen if we kind of do something. Like, for example, if suddenly agents have some persistent memory, right? So I think this will have very important implications for AI safety, or if we give some rights to agents, right? And so on. So I think there's a lot of work to be done there. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I was not too much over time, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Yep.